now you won't let go.
You see, I've been thinking a lot about how there's a difference between someone who is trying to get healthy versus someone who is just healthy. And it took me a while to figure out what that difference was because from the outside looking in, it can seem like they're just more disciplined, they just have more money, or they just have it easier somehow. But the more that I paid attention to myself, to the people that inspire me, and to the clients that I work with, the more that I realized that it was much simpler than that. You see, it comes down to identity, how you see yourself, and what you believe that you truly deserve. Not what you're consciously thinking you deserve, but what your subconscious believes that you deserve. When I think of people who are truly healthy, not just physically, but mentally and energetically, I begin to realize that they have a few things in common, such as meditation. And meditation can look different for every person. There's different forms of meditation. Or some people, it may be prayer. Either way, they have some sort of spiritual foundation for themselves. Number two, they move their body, whether that's through sports, strength training, yoga, Pilates, anything that revolves around just moving their vessel, getting out there and walking, jogging, all of those different forms are a form of movement and they're important. They can help you to stay in shape. They can help you to stay in good health. Number three, eating whole foods as much as they can, as often as they can. And so they do these things even on days when they don't feel like it or they don't want to. And I've found myself now in a place where I am a healthy person, essentially. I do these things even on days when I don't want to or when I don't feel like it. But here's the part that I wanted to emphasize on. A healthy person does not second guess investing into their health. They don't debate whether or not they deserve to feel good. They're not waiting until they have more money, until the economy is fixed, until they are more motivated. They make the decisions in their life, in their finances, in how they spend their energy, and they keep moving forward towards a healthier life regardless of their current circumstances. And even if their circumstances are uncongenial, they're still going to do whatever they can do in their current capacity because they are a healthy person and they're constantly or consistently moving towards a healthier version of the life that it is that they wanted to live. They want a quality life. And so their choices and their way of thinking, their way of being resembles that. I had to stop debating with myself when I realized something, which was that if I wanted to be a healthy person, I had to do what a healthy person would do. And that sounds simple, but it actually was quite deep for me when I sat with that. Because if you see yourself as a healthy person, then you won't consistently make choices that an unhealthy person would make. And so the identity leads to the behavior, and the behavior leads to the lasting change in your life that you want to see. But I want to be clear that I'm not saying that you're going to live this 100% clean life is going to be perfect. Because personally, for me, I live by an 80-20 rule. 80% for being on my P's and Q's consistently, and 20% for being human. I'm traveling abroad, I'm in my early 20s, things happen. And so that's what's balanced for me at this current stage of my life. Now, obviously, and I've said this before, when I was staying in the States or in the West, the quality of food is different. Now that I'm traveling abroad, quality food is more accessible here than in the West, which is ironic because we're supposed to be more developed, right? But that's a different conversation for another day. I say this to say that the quality of food in the West wasn't as accessible, and a lot of the food was trash, even if it was considered vegan food. And so I would live by a 90-10 life. 90% I need to stay consistent and stay on my P's and Q's because of the quality of life that I desire to live. And 10% is for going out, family and friends, things like that, you see. But nevertheless, you find something that works for you, find that balance for yourself, and just try to remain consistent as much as you can is my point. We're not reaching for 100% clean, a 100% perfect life. For me, I've just come to the understanding and the acceptance that that might not be possible at this current stage of being a human in this planet, unless you're completely 100% self-sufficient, meaning you do everything from your clothes to your food to the things you use to clean your house. If you're doing and growing everything yourself, then that's one way to go about it. But if you're not, if you're traveling, if you're still shopping at stores, if you're in a stage of where you're growing your finances and stabilizing your income, right, then you may just have to settle for a percentage that works for you with whatever stage of life that you're in. But nevertheless, the foundation has to be your identity first. And it's about, who do you believe you are? because your actions will reflect that in all aspects of your life. I believe that food holds a vibration, and I know that may sound abstract at first, but let me explain why I believe that. There's a clip on my Instagram page, some of you might have seen it, some of you may haven't have seen it, of me crying in a car talking about I'm tired of being broke and I'm tired of feeling stuck. And around that time, I just so happened to have just stopped eating meat, right? But I still was eating processed foods even though I was converting. And I was eating low quality everything, right? And because of that, I was inflamed. I was working out, but I still was looking the same. My thoughts were more negative. My energy felt heavy all the time, and I was more prone to spiraling out than I am now. And so I want to be careful here because for me, I am plant-based or vegetarian some days. That's just what's working for me right now in my life. But I'm not the type of person, despite my dietary preferences, that's trying to convert the clients I work with or the people that watch my content. My intention isn't to convert people. I do what works for me in the best way possible. So I don't personally think that eating meat is bad, because the more that I've studied recently my own cultures and different cultures around the world, I've realized that a lot of human cultures and civilizations have eaten meat or animals for centuries. And even though that doesn't work for me, that's what worked for them. And the same way that I would go about eating plants or consuming nature, they went about it with animals, with gratitude, with prayer, with love, with intention, with a respect for the circle of life. And this is totally different from the way that things are done in the West. A lot of it is industrialized, stripped, processed, treated, things are being injected to it, and so essentially it's not the same quality as a lot of different tribes or cultures, the way that they consumed an animal's life back then. And so for me, that is what one of the major problems is with the meat industry for me. And so I think that the way that things are done in the West to get meat, to consume meat, the way that it is done, I think that affects your body differently. And for me, the solidifying factor of food having a vibration solidified for me when I started fasting and cleansing my vessel. I started to see a difference in the energy around me and within me, and the way that I think, in the circumstances that I saw within my life. I realized that things weren't just physical, that a mental, energetic shift was taking place for me, which is why I do fast throughout the year. And so what I was consuming was essentially affecting my entire state of being. And by stripping my body of all of those things, I begin to see it. I begin to go through the motions and experience the effects of a fast. I begin to have more clarity, right? And that's pretty common when you start fasting. So that's what holistic health means to me. That's why it's important to me. So when I work with someone, or when I'm spreading awareness or inspiring people to be holistic, it isn't just about changing their nutrition. Yes, I'm a holistic health nutritionist coach, but I also believe that everything is connected, not just the body. We're doing a full transformation of our mind, our body, and our spirit. Everything matters. It all goes together. It isn't just one thing. If you have a person that's meditating but eating inflammatory foods, they're missing one piece of the puzzle. If you have someone who's eating whole foods, but they lack control over their mind, it's the same situation. It's about bridging the gap and bringing everything together to be in coherence with oneself. So if you're someone who's been stuck in a cycle of starting, stopping, and debating with yourself, even though you want to be healthy, I ask you today to sit with this question for today, maybe even for this week. Who do you believe that you are? Not who you're trying to become. Who do you already see yourself as? Because the version of you that is healthy isn't waiting for the perfect conditions, isn't waiting for the economy to change, isn't waiting for the family members to change. They're just living it. They're deciding to do it. They're showing up in their capacity, in the way that they can. And you can start today wherever you are, with whatever you have. That's what living holistically means. Doing whatever you can to the best of your ability, despite your current circumstances and conditions, right? And so I'll leave you with this. Reflect upon this. And I'm wishing you peace, love, light, and healing. I will see you guys next time.